The UN's annual meeting on climate change is underway in Bonn, Germany, where countries are focused on one big task: how to implement the Paris Climate Agreement. As it usually does, the U.S. is participating in those talks. But after years of leading the charge on climate action, this time around, the U.S. is taking a back seat.
The Paris Agreement, the biggest ever global agreement on climate change, would never have existed without American leadership. Previous administrations spent years pushing other countries to sign a deal. Then this summer, President Trump announced his intention to withdraw from the agreement. But the US is still very much in for the time being, because the rules make countries take a 4-year cooling-off period before they're allowed to walk away. So until 2020, the US still has a seat at the table. And the government did send a delegation to this year's UN climate meeting in Bonn, Germany. But if you ask members of previous US delegations, one thing is clear: America is not taking the lead. According to Jonathan Pershing, the former lead negotiator representing the United States at the last big UN climate meeting in Morocco, the US government has benched some key players.
Last year, we had a whole discussion on land use and forests. I needed technical experts. I brought people from the Forest Service, people from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Last year, I brought them. This year, I understand they will be staying home. I had a whole team thinking about finance. This year, maybe no one, maybe one person. So even though these issues are on the agenda, there will not be much of a technical team from the U.S. to reflect the depth of those.
We asked the State Department why this year's 48-person delegation counts just 3 technical experts, but they didn't respond to our inquiry. Compared with last year's group, which included 93 delegates, of which 14 were experts, that's a significant reduction that doesn't inspire much confidence. When choices are being made about the implementation of the Paris Agreement, the US may not have the right people on hand to evaluate the impact of these suggestions on the country, and that could lead to bad decisions. The EU, China, and Japan will likely take on the leading role that the US used to occupy. Still, Jonathan Pershing says that the ramifications of the US acting like a bystander at world climate conferences are significant for everyone.
People have looked at our technical understanding, at the depth of analytics that we bring to the table, and relied on us for a great deal of that. No other single country has that kind of depth. So if the U.S. walks away, it's going to have an impact. Even combined, the rest of the world is not as well off without the U.S.